Yes, we are live. Hey, TFWR, my bad. It's been a struggle today with all these tools that I have, but I'm live here with Florida great Mike DeAugustino out of Flagler Palm Coast. This year was his redshirt freshman year. Had a great year. He went 21-8 up at Northwestern. He was named to the All-American team, third at Big Tens, third at CKLV, runner-up at Midlands. Two-time district champ, three-time regional champ, state runner-up one time. A bunch of cool shit, man. I'm sorry, man. It's been a struggle, and we got him live, man. Dad and grandpa and great uncle, I think he said, are now in the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. So he was born and bred to do this, and he's making Florida proud up there at the West. And how are you, man? Thank you for being patient with me and not firing me.
Oh,
I
you're
appreciate
good.
it. No,
You're
man.
good.
How are you?
Doing pretty good. Just trying to stay in shape as best as I can right now.
Yeah. So how has this affected you? Affected the Northwestern team? Um, I know you're home right now, right?
Yeah, I'm home right now. It's definitely been weird. We're a pretty close team, especially because we have a little bit of a smaller roster as well compared to some other Big Ten teams. So we're pretty close to each other, and it's kind of weird that we went from seeing each other like every day to it's been I don't know almost 2 months now for us just outside the wrestling room.
Man, that's awesome. So you had what, six qualify this year, four get All American by NWCA or something?
Yeah, I think so. We had four All Americans and two that I think they would have showed what they could have done if they could have wrestled the tournament.
Yeah, man. What's it like being around Seabass?
He's probably I'd say one of the best guys or the best guy I've ever wrestled. It's definitely a big help having him in the room. You need someone who's gonna push you every day.
Yeah, he was hitting his stride going into the tournament, huh?
Yeah, it sucks. I think he really would have. I think him and Deacon both really would have made a push and have won it if they could have. They both
So
were.
this
Deacon was
would
pretty
have
dominant
been,
all year. And what was that?
I'm sorry, there was a little bit of a delay. Yeah, you said a pretty dominant year for you guys.
Yeah, Deacon was undefeated. I think he was like 21 or 22 or something like that. And Rivera was healthy. I mean, I think he might have been one of the best pound for pound wrestlers in the country.
Man, that's all. And you had a hell of a year, man. This was your redshirt freshman year. So this was, last year I think you only had about 20 matches or 19 matches. It looked like when I was looking it up. But this year you went full force, made some noise. I saw, I think I saw something on Facebook where you and your sister were live somewhere. She was rooting you on at some tournament out there. So that was super cool. Now you got another big time Florida kid coming out in Frankie Tal Shahir, right? Man, what's that going to be like having another Florida stud up there with you?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be exciting. I love Frankie. I think he's a great competitor. It's going to really help build our team. And I think, once he gets in there next year, it's just another person to show, that Florida's got good wrestling. I think we're one of the better states. Just people need to see, get more exposure to Florida wrestling. And Bilek will be back next year, come back from injury. So you're going to see a lot of Florida guys in purple next year.
Yeah, cool. So you obviously have Florida wrestling has really, really grown. Um, a lot of the guys that I have on, like yourself, have noticed that. You say like the top Florida guys, if they created a duel, they can compete with anybody nationwide, right?
Yeah, I agree. You got Pat, who's number one guy in the country this year. Lugo. Again, sucks he couldn't have gone out there, but he had a great year. He had all other All Americans from Florida previously, like Perry, all those guys. There's Sherman. There's a lot of guys out there. So I think it's more so not even the top guys. It also could be, middle tier guys if they just get their shot at the next level. Yeah, I think there's a lot of upside to Florida wrestling.
And now you got sorry, terrible. Sorry, it's been one of
Here you
those
go.
days. Um, and people keep throwing this question out there, and I'm sure we're going to see this a lot. Now we have a team in the state that's going to compete at the prep school level. So now we're going to have a Florida school that's really going to be um, gain a lot of national attention. Um, how will that be for Florida wrestling?
Um, I think it's gonna be good. It's gonna help grow it. Plaza's done a great job over there with not just Lake Island Prep alone, but just the club itself too. So reaching out, branching out to other kids that maybe aren't going to the school and helping them out. So I mean, I think we're gonna see a lot of kids from the South come, that want to wrestle because it's probably I don't know if could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's probably one of the few prep schools for wrestling in the South, if not the only, if the only, not the only one. But I think you're going to see a lot of new kids coming to the area as well, and hopefully soon, someone can step up and we can get an NCAA college team in Florida. I think it'd be
Yeah,
good
and
for this as well.
I noticed in your bio at Northwestern, one of the big things that stuck out was a Central Florida Wrestling Academy wrestler. So, what have those coaches and that club meant to your career, as well as your coaches at Flagler Palm Coast?
I was after my sophomore year. I lost in the state finals, and I started training there, I believe, and I built a lot of good friendships with guys that we're still close to this day, and we may go to different schools now, but we still come up and wrestle. Like Ryan Chauvin, me and him were wrestling the other day down here. I put a mat in my garage, so that's kind of how I've been staying in shape. But just relationships like that forming, and especially in tough times like this, you can help each other out. And Coach Palazzo helped me a lot, getting recruited and everything out of high school, and exposure and upping my levels in the sport. So big thanks to him, and my parents as well for helping me like travel every day, because I would drive I think it was like 3 or 4 times a week. I'd drive to Lake Highland for the club practices. So I didn't have my own car in high school, so that was a big help for my parents. Being committed with me to
Yeah,
help me
and
get better.
the difference of obviously you have great coaches, you have a great program up there at Flagler. They put on great tournaments. But what did it mean to you to get into another room just to get some high level competition for your career?
Yeah, at first it was definitely a new feel, because I went from being like the best guy in my high school room, and it was like only when I'd wrestle like Andy Ward, who was one of my former coaches, there'd be like he's a little bit bigger than me. That'd probably be my biggest challenge, and my dad sometimes here and there. But when you step in there, it's like I think it was my first day. I was probably like, I don't know, like 16 years old or something, and I didn't compete nationally too much yet, and I got my butt kicked pretty good. But then within like a year or so, you're starting to see your jumps. And I mean, every person, no matter how high of a level you are, to get there, you got to get your butt beat sometimes. So it was good for me. I started to get the feel of higher level wrestlers a lot more often, and this guy might go this way, but a guy who's not as good will not thinking like 3 4 steps ahead. So you start to you don't really realize it until years down the road, but you start to get like a natural feel for it.
Talk about the program you're at now. Obviously, what has wrestling? First of all, wrestling has been your life, your parents' life, your family life. Um, what has First of all, how has wrestling helped you get to where you are today, helped you be the person you are today, and get into the high level college you are today? And then also talk about being at a Northwestern now, in a college room, in a Division I room, in a room at that level, and what's it like being around those guys and that culture?
Um, well, wrestling growing up, it's pretty much it was all I ever knew. From the time that I was little, because my brother was into it, my dad was the coach. I think a big part of it though, starting off, was my dad never like forced me to do anything. It was always what I wanted to do. It was like, if you want to go to this tournament, we'll go. But it was never I never was getting thrown in to do something. So I think that's helped me keep the love for the sport that I have right now, and keep a passion
And
for it.
not burn out, right?
Yeah, I feel like in this sport we see that sometimes, or a lot of times, kids will go off on their own once they're done, and they kind of lose the love that they once had for it. So I think
Now,
that's like where it all started. Was it was always what I wanted to do.
and so, what's it been like being in that room that you're in now, being with some Division I coaches who have been at this level for years, and wrestling guys that are at that high level? Uh, what's the culture there like? What's the education mentor intern track like? Um, Talk a little bit about your kind of experience, what you're experiencing there, and why Northwestern was the best fit for you.
We got a team full of killers. You know, everyone we're like best friends and we're brothers. But once you step on the mat every day, everyone's trying to compete against each other. So I think that's a good relationship that we have in our program. Is once we step on the mat, it's fun. I mean, like drilling, you have a good time. But when it's time to go live and compete, we're after each other, and I think that's a good balance to have. And Coach Storney, Howe, and Jimmy, they've done a great job with helping me develop what I need to develop. I think our coaching staff does a really good job at kind of adapting to each kid and how they wrestle. So, I mean, obviously, someone like Deacon style is different than my style. So, coaches do a good job with the, getting to know each other personally and seeing what each one of us needs. And they've been
And
great along the way too. With just anything like rehab, if you're a little banged up or you got a sore neck, they get you. They'll get a massage for you. They make sure that we're always healthy, ready to go.
how important is that? I was listening to the Gabe Dean show the other day, or he calls it like the Dabgeen, whatever he calls it. But I was
Yeah,
in the other day, and he was talking about the importance of that culture and that coach wrestling kind of relationship, and how you can't coach. For example, someone can't coach you the way they coach Seabass or the way they coach Deacon, because different personalities, right? Different styles, different makeup. So it's really good that they learn, and that means a lot to in a program that they can fit to your kind of style, because why change what works? Let's make them better at it, right?
yeah, exactly. Because I think it comes from we have three coaches that are all different kind of styles. You have Howe, who's kind of like he's technically sound and a brute, and he's gonna get your sharp. He's gonna sharpen your edges on what you need to do. And Storney can help me out with my type of style with funk and everything. And Jimmy's pretty good with being right in between both of those sides.
So good year this year, 21-8. We're finally full boat, and you walk into. So what tournament was first, the CKLV or the
Yeah, Vegas
Midland? Or
was Vegas was first. It was like December, first weekend or second weekend in December.
so you go in there and you score a third place finish. Um, People weren't expecting that. You came in as a young freshman. You made some noise. What kind of noise were you hearing after that going into Midlands? Some expectations now.
A little bit at Midlands. Going into Vegas, I mean, I'm confident what I can do. I try to kind of block out all the who you got in the brackets. I don't really ever look at the brackets or the seeding and everything because it doesn't really matter. We're gonna wrestle to see who should be seeded what, so it doesn't really matter to me. But going in, I didn't even like I said, I don't even look at who I'm wrestling. I just when I put my ankle bands on or step up to the table, give them my name, that's when I know who I'm wrestling. But I think you're better off that way when you're just focused on what you need to do yourself because you do what you need to do. I feel like you're hard to lose or get beat. But
Okay,
yeah, I mean, I
so
expected myself to do good at that tournament.
yeah, you go in there. So now you've made some noise. Now you're going into Midlands, and you come second there, right? Who was the champ at Midlands this year?
It's Glory. I lost to Glory in the finals.
Wow, so he's a tough competitor. That must have been awesome for a young guy like you to get to compete against a guy like that. Um, we actually have their coaches on next week, so that'll be fun to talk to
Yeah.
them. So runner up to him, but talk about it. So now Midlands, that's a huge notch in your belt. Next year, you're going to go win it. I can feel it. And And so now you're going to the Big Tens. Now they probably have you ranked, you're seated, you're ready. You've got expectations, right?
Yeah, but I think I was seeded like fifth or sixth or something like that. I had a couple hiccups in the middle of the year on some dual meets, but when it's tournament time, it's showtime. So that's how I always think of it. That's what we always talk about. Our coaches building for March. But yeah, same mindset. Just not really focusing on who I'm wrestling first round or who I got then. Just trying to block out all the noise and I guess going. I got a first round pin. I avenged all my losses from last season when I was just a regular red shirt. So that was nice to have first round. And I think I wrestled the Penn State kid in the second round who I already previously beaten. And then semis came and I lost to Schroeder from Purdue. So hopefully we get that one back eventually. Hopefully this
There you
whole
go.
thing can be done.
Obviously, the pinnacle of 125. We all know who he is, right? So I'm sure that's who you got your sights set on.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to. Unfortunately I haven't wrestled him yet. So, but hopefully soon I'll get a chance to. We can give a good showing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Hey, to be the best, you want to wrestle the best, right? So
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun to go out there and wrestle Lee.
cool. It seems like a real nice guy. I talked to him the other day, and just good for the sport, just like everybody else. Um, so your brother wrestled at UCF, right? 4 years started there. You said he's got the record or something for most wins there.
Yeah,
What made him choose you? Did he have a solid high school career like yourself?
yeah, he had a good high school career. I think he was I want to say two-time state placer. I think. He had a couple offers, but like I think it was like the Citadel, and he was talking to UTC. But I think he was just more comfortable with staying at home and building his own legacy somewhere. So he had a really good career at UCF, and they might have been a club program, but they still competed at a bunch of Division I tournaments and opens that they still got to compete against good competition.
Wow, that's awesome, and that's good for kids to know, right? Especially local kids.
Yeah, UCF's had a. They might be club, like I said. Hopefully soon we can see them jump to, you know, NAIA and maybe make a jump sooner or later to NCAA. That'd be awesome for Florida to get a team. But yeah, they go to plenty. It's not like they're wrestling only Florida kids. They go to like the Citadel Open. They wrestle at other. They wrestled out in I think California when my brother was there. They travel a lot. So I mean, if kids are looking to stay in state and wrestle somewhere, I mean, they still have the option of like Southeastern and I think Kaiser is a team. But I mean, if they want to go like for a bigger school and wrestle, and they don't really mind it being a club, and they could see past that, you can wrestle there as well.
Awesome. So obviously the plans right now are to get to the other side of this and get the training back started again. Obviously, right? Get the team back together. What are your goals for next year?
It'd be cliche if I say national champ or something, but uh, build myself as a better wrestler, person for my team, uh, encourage people better on my team, and uh, I want to do good for my coaches and my family. So those are my goals. You meet your coach's expectation.
And have the opportunity, yeah, and have the opportunity to compete for the
Yeah,
championship, right?
exactly. Hopefully we can have it this season. So that's one of my goals right now is hopefully we can get to compete in the season. So do that. You make your family proud, make your coaches proud, and usually you get good results. So
Well, so the bracket behind you, which bracket is that from?
I think that's Rotary from like my sophomore or junior year. It was like 100 where's that? I think 120 pounds or something.
Nice. You think 125 is where you'll stay through college?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty much done growing right now. I've been about the same size for a while now. I wrestled, I think 120. I jumped to 126 like my junior year, and that was or senior year rather, and I think that was about it. So I've pretty much been around the same weight for about 3 years now.
What would you tell young kids about weight cutting and worrying about the weight and driving themselves crazy about the weight. Um, what are some recommendations you would tell kids that are going through obviously what you went through as a young wrestler?
I'd say if you're young, like cadet and under, you don't really need to be worrying about cutting so much weight. I didn't cut any weight when I was until like I think my sophomore year or junior year of high school. So like little kids, I'd say just wrestle your natural weight and have fun with it. Your time will come where you'll have to miss a meal, here and there. You don't want to rush it too much. And in high school, I mean, if you got to do it a little bit, to start on a team, if you're on a really good team, then I guess you kind of got to do it a little bit. But I wouldn't say that you need to kill yourself in high school. That's a lot of it's a big learning experience in high school. You're starting to learn technique. You're starting to figure who you are as a person. I think it's better if you can avoid cutting too much weight and just focus on technique and learning the sport.
It makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah, it's obvious to a certain extent. I think it's good. I think it can keep people disciplined a little bit on dieting and stuff, but I don't think people should be killing themselves trying to make the weight class, because then by the time you get out on the mat, you're kind of dead. It's you're focusing more time on your weight cut than you are wrestling.
Awesome. That's good. Well, so I got a few questions for you. First of all, excuse me. Um, if your sister's watching, tell her thanks for getting me in touch with you. I appreciate her. That was awesome. So thank you. And we watch you on West 2 all the time. So I hope everybody over at West 2 is healthy and doing well. So thank you for getting me in touch with your brother. All right, you ready for the 10 questions? All right, so you're down by 3 going into the third period. You have choice: top, bottom, or neutral.
I'm gonna go bottom. Go bottom, and sure. Usually, if it's me, I'm gonna. Well, do I have riding time or no? Or is the guy riding time on me?
It just says down by 3 going into the third. You have choice.
I'm going to go down and try to get a takedown on a ride out and go to overtime, more than likely.
Awesome. Folk or free?
Folk style. I never really did much of freestyle growing up. My first freestyle tournament was last year in Vegas in the off season, but majority is folk style.
Nice. Headgear? No headgear.
I like no headgear, but I mean, I'm not a really,
you and everyone
I don't
else.
really wear headgear.
You have only one day available to train. Do you go to a rumble or a clinic?
Probably a rumble. I used to do that all the time.
Who
High
wins
school with Palazzo and the Royal Rumbles. They're a good experience.
Yeah, especially at a club like that, right? Who wins the rematch, Bowden Swain or Brian Shute?
Swain.
Which title holds more prestige, 32 or Fargo?
Ooh, it's a tough one. I guess if you're on an Olympic track, Fargo, but if you're on a folk style track, I'd say 32.
More dominant, pin or tech?
Tech.
Steve Hall, tech. All right, Popeyes or Chick-fil-A?
I've actually never had Popeyes before, so probably gonna have to go Chick-fil-A.
Do you prefer tenders or nuggets?
Tenders. I'm a tenders guy.
Whopper or Big Mac?
Whopper.
Awesome. Hey, Mike, man, I know it was a rough go there at 2 o'clock. I was trying hard, man. This internet and everybody doing Zoom and virtual. Man, I was trying to do my best to get you on. I appreciate you hanging in there with me and coming on, man. Hey, when you get back in the room up in Northwestern, I'd love to get on again with you.
Of course.
Up there you and your coaches and stuff. And we'll definitely keep in touch. You have my cell. I have your cell. And any of your guys up there want to come on, just send them my link or my information, and I'll be more than happy to have your whole team on.
Of course.
All right, buddy. And hey, if your coach at Flagler Palm Coast wants to come on and talk some wrestling too, I'm down, man.
Yeah, I'll text him. I'll let him know.
All right, brother. You take it easy. Enjoy yourself. I know you live up there in Flagler Palm Coast, and that's a beautiful place to live. So I know you got to go back to Illinois eventually, but it's got to be nice to be home.
Yeah, it's nice being back with the family for a little bit. Don't get to do that too much
All
anymore.
right, man. Let me know when that pier opens up. I'll bring the rods up.
I got you. I will.
All right, brother. You take care, and tell your sister thanks for introducing me.
Have a good one.
You take care, brother, and good luck. Kick some
Thank
ass,
you.
okay?